No, I
haven't.
𝑖 absolute silence, please. So you're welcome to the seminar. Like seminar is less about me talking. It's about me learning from you. So let us enjoy ourselves while I'm sitting down on this honorable chair. All right. We're now in our discussion session in the spirit of what we stopped doing just before we went on break. Just the same kind of spirit when we're interacting and discussing.
Are citizen journalists as important as normal journalists?
Yeah. So people online, can you hear me? Let's just be sure that we can hear you. 𝙊𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙤. Name. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Hello, yeah. All right. Can you speak louder just to be sure that we can hear you? Speak louder, please.
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. We can hear you too. Like you came here for me. Okay. So we're talking about citizen journalism, talking about professional journalism, talking about what else? Digital culture. That is digital way of life. I want to stick into the session.
I need the coffee in myself.
Yeah, not just you. So the very first question before us today is citizen journalism and user-generated content help bring about a greater democratization of the public sphere, but dilutes professional journalistic standard. Do you agree?
Yeah.
How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, who is going first? Oh, who is disagreeing? Is anybody disagreeing? I assume people who are not raising their hand, they're either neutral or disagreeing. So, who wants to go first? No, not Anna.
Not me, but can I go to the toilet? It's not
Yeah, sure.
My contact info.
Yeah.
So citizen journalism definitely brings about a greater democratization of public sphere because before public sphere would be all sort of people who are published in newspapers, and generally, even to this day, people in newsrooms are overwhelmingly middle class. So now that anybody can add their opinion into the mix on social media, and there are lots of people on social media who influence opinion who are from working class backgrounds, it makes a big difference because there's a lot more representation of different types of people.
All right. Thank you very much for that. You go next.
I think in terms of it being diluted in how important it is to be trained as an actual journalist. I think people who are citizen journalists can speak much more freely, which is often a good thing, but then on the same token, it's also not, because they have no reputation to uphold, so it's just they can quite simply.
They can just say things.
Yeah, without any reprimands afterwards, they can just go back into their normal life. Whereas it's like journalists have their careers to think about, their livelihood on the line, so it's just much more different. It's harder to compare the two when the risks are so much greater for journalists as opposed to citizen journalists.
Thank you very much for that contribution. So was it you that raised your hand?
Maybe.
Oh, you.
I was just going to agree that it's like public citizen journalists don't have a reputation to uphold, so it kind of.
So it's a thing of reputation. So what gives a journalist such reputation? Such reputation. What confers that reputation?
Because we've got to uphold like trust with the public, otherwise people aren't going to listen to us. So that's why I'd agree that.
So people are not going to listen to citizen journalists, but they'll listen to a journalist. Oh, is that what you're saying?
No, but I'm saying that citizen journalists don't have a reputation to uphold. So it does dilute professional journalistic standards because, you know, they're more free to say what they want to say.
Okay, thank you for that repetition. Take notes. I hope you're taking notes. Just before I come to you, Anna, Patrick wants to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say it dilutes journalism in an economic way because people are they're more consuming social media, news on social media. Like they'll read along with states that someone's written on Facebook about a news event, and they'll kind of get their information from there. And people might start commenting debate and stuff. So it's funny to lose it from an economic point of view.
Okay, well done. Anna.
I was going to say, obviously that's similar to what Cole said at the end, but something about how their reputation with journalists is to maintain the trust of the public and ethics as well. So most of the time, citizen journalists probably aren't doing as much research on the issue as journalists are, because we're entitled to research, interview people, so we get more information. Whereas citizen journalists might not have access to all that, so sometimes it's just retweeting what's been said, or just jumping on the bandwagon a little bit and just kind of putting it out there. And I think that can be more dangerous than people realise.
You all have mentioned one or two things that is lying on the foundation of reputation. Are you also arguing or making a case that citizen journalism doesn't have a chance of doing investigative reports because of reputation?
They can, but it might not be as accurate.
This might not
I
be-
disagree with, so from time to time, yes, the person's is accurate, but I feel like there are definitely scenarios where freelancers, which I guess in a way are citizen journalists, and they can go more in depth at times, but not all the time.
I was going to say, I agree with Gwen, because sometimes not having a reputation to uphold can be beneficial towards the actual journalism you're trying to produce. Because, again, with the less risk, you have access to better things. So, for example, you're not worried about doing certain things, or worried about being caught in certain decisions because you're just it doesn't matter. It's not important.
Okay, yeah.
And surely they've got less facilities than natural journalists.
Yeah, facilities, equipment, and some other specialized training, right?
Sometimes you might find on Twitter a thread that's written by somebody who's from a particular profession, or they have a particular insight, they're say it's a doctor who wants to write something about the NHS that nobody's heard before. That is news because it's new information. But obviously they have a point of view to share it. It's going to be somewhat opinionated, but they're definitely going to have a good understanding of the facts. It's not going to be poorly researched because they know what they're talking about. They're an expert, so that would be citizen journalism as well.
Okay.
I think after listening to what they said about what I made, I think I do understand that part. I think that's accurate. Also with citizen journalism, obviously the point of journalism is to uphold democracy. and democracy is, the will of the people, and listening to what citizens have to say. So I feel like citizen journalism is good. So minority viewpoints aren't ignored. So like the community, it's feeling heard, I guess, not just the elite.
I'm with you, Anna. No, you're not done.
I am done, yeah.
You're still fine with one language. So conclude with your point.
What was my conclusion?
What was your conclusion?
That I think citizen journalism is more beneficial than.
Yeah, professional journalism. You think so?
No, I didn't say that. I said it's more beneficial than people think, because
Okay.
it
What are
upholds.
people taking?
They're thinking that because the term professional, I don't like the term professional.
What do you like?
I don't know, I just don't like that term.
Okay. Now let's think about those who are on the other side. People have been agreeing.
My mind's not made up yet about this, because I feel that so much of our world is made up of citizen journalism that it's hard to say it dilutes it, because in reality, citizen journalism collaborates so much to starting at a professional journalism, where where they're publishing different images, like the images alone on all of these stories, right? It comes from Getty Images, and Getty Images is a company where they basically pay for random citizens' photos. So that alone that photo contributes to the story. So for me, it's hard to make up my mind to say whether or not it's diluting journalism as a whole, when it realistically makes up probably over 50% of all journalism.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't say that anything now.
I'm in a very similar boat as Brendan, because I actually haven't made up my mind. I agree with the first half of the statement of the question, that it definitely democratic. I don't know how to say that word, but you get what I mean. But to say that citizen journalism as a whole dilutes quote unquote professional journalism, and respectfully, it feels a bit holier than thou. Respectfully. But see, I understand where the statement is coming from. It's just really hard for me to agree with it through and through. So I can agree that, okay, maybe it's impacting ethics and all, but let's be honest, do people actually care about that? I understand journalists care, I really do, and it's a really big part of their identity and their production and their work. But as consumers, do consumers care about ethics and morals about what they're reading? Because as a consumer myself, I don't. As a journalist, or well, I'm not a journalist yet, but as a part of me that wants to get into journalism, I do care about it. But then as a consumer, as a reader, I really don't care about it. So it's a very thin line to tread, which is why I didn't really add anything onto it, because I didn't have a cemented worldview on that particular aspect of diluting professional standards.
Excellent. Excellent. Can we give us some applause? Now, have you thought about putting all of those things you've said together as you see how much difference? In this class, cultivate the habits of agreeing deliberately, and cultivate the attitude of disagreeing deliberately, so you can give us a balanced view. You use the term, I wouldn't say. Let me have my say. That is what journalism is. They're not meant to be a judge. Presents the facts. That's what citizen journalism also do. So they are all doing the same thing. Some people are certified. Some people are labeled code of conduct, legal backings, and all that. Is there any other person who wants to constructing things. Yeah.
I think there's cases where it can also expand it instead of dilute it. So like if you take the George Floyd incident from a couple of years ago, there was one video that was taken and that sparked hundreds or even thousands of articles across the world from real journalists. So that's one act of citizen journalism that expanded the journalism market in a way.
It's what you're saying in that sense, what I'm taking from is maybe quite different from your exact community, is that it expands the journalism market.
Yeah.
Is that a positive for you? That you're concerned about?
That's what I'm wondering. Is expansion really dilution? Because expansion just means there's more of it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And is that a bad thing? I mean, in
The
certain
point
cases,
is,
it
let's
has
think
been.
about it practically in form of like a chemical. So I've got it. Can I pick a bottle?
Yeah.
In this bottle, and it is highly concentrated. If I expand this bottle, what happens? This is a professional content, and we pour in unprofessional content. The expanding of the expanding is a bit diluted.
Yes, less concentrated.
What less concentrated of what? Of professionalism. So it's diluted of professionalism. It depends on what you are conceptualized as well.
But the state, you said the question wasn't just professional journalism, professional journalistic standards.
Standards.
So
So what are these standards? Do you know the standards? Do you know the standards? It's ethical standards is one of those key things. And ethics is what makes it professional. Yeah, there you go. Oops, before you go.
I think like it
I think
depends.
you should twist your chair so you can form like a cycle.
No.
You don't want to. You want to keep looking into my eyes,
No.
but not anyone else.
I don't look at anyone.
Okay, I'll allow you to speak now.
I think it depends on what type of journalism we're talking about. For example, like sport journalism, it's much less important that the equality of journalism is like still prevalent in because I think with pundits in sport, they're just offering their opinion. It's just a case of them offering their opinion. It's like you watch a game, you give your opinion on the game, and his opinion's worth as much as as somebody else's. Like, yeah, they may be experts or whatever, but it's not the be all and end all if someone isn't like fully researched on a sport in a sporting environment. Whereas politically, it could perhaps be
Has wider implication, deeper implication.
yeah, it has more of a detrimental effect if it's in a political standard. So I think it depends on what type of journalism you're thinking.
I agree with you totally. Anna, what do you want to say?
Nothing, I'm just uncomfortable. Everyone's.
You are bamboozled.
Yeah. I was just staring at me.
You like that thinking, right?
Huh?
You like the path he went through, the thinking.
What, I like his point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with it.
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's like the sport, like it's not really
There's not much.
it's not really that opinionated, like it is, but it's not at the same time. Whereas politics is like, you have to be careful with giving your opinion because it
It
can
has to
be,
do with power.
yeah.
It has to do with deciding what becomes people's fates, and even your fate as people. Look at Hassan. What has happened to him?
what's happened to me?
Hassan,
It's that.
Gillian.
What?
Gillian Hassan got victims.
Julian Assange.
Oh, what about him? I'm sorry.
He was generalizing and he was doing the public good. But where are the public now to help him out of the prison wars?
I'm really
I'm
confused.
so
They don't care, no one cares.
You don't think you're confused?
Actually, to be
Yeah.
fair,
Then, do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, there's a very small number of people who care about Julian Assange. I know some people care because Belmarsh Prison is about 10 minutes down the road from my house where he is. And I know,
And he put jump the fence to rescue.
there's a massive poster outside. There's like free Julian Assange, and there's like sometimes someone drives around with a van that's got like a poster on with his face on. And you see them drive around central London sometimes, but it's the general public. They're like, if he was still out of prison releasing things, they'd be like sitting there with a popcorn, finding out what he's saying. But if they're, if he's in prison, then no one cares.
No one cares. So, Anna, did you get what we're talking about? Now, in the course of this lecture, we'll mention
Who is this
a
person
platform.
you're talking about?
He's the founder of WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is a website known to be revealing secrets, even official secrets, things that are within the confines of the official secret house. So he just gets hold of them, whether ethically or ethically, all these concerns, let's just expose the governments. That's his philosophy. Now, he has successfully made you and I happy. Because we're happy to read about secrets, isn't it? Now he's in the prison. What have we done to him?
I'll go rescue him.
But he's just 10 minutes away from his house, like you said. But you are not down there.
I'm on my way.
So this is kind of a tangent, but like 300 years ago, there was this guy named Thomas Hearne. And
Thomas what?
Thomas Hearne,
How do you spell his last name?
𝐻𝕖𝕤𝙬, Thomas Hearne.
Okay.
He's Alexander Pope's greatest enemy. So basically, this Thomas Hearne loved to compile different documents throughout history, and he stockpiled them. But the biggest problem that Thomas Hearne did was he misconstrued so much of history. He was in power of these documents, but he misinterpreted them to such a degree where a lot of our history today, especially, you know the ℎ𝕖𝕤𝙬𝙬𝙠? It's basically, it's like the history of Scotland written in the 1200s. So he when he edited the ℎ𝕖𝕤𝙬𝙬𝙠 in like the 1700s, he diluted different facts of Scotland's history, and he did that with multiple different things. And so with someone like Julian Assange, he didn't really add his own opinion onto these. He just released the documents, and he had other people just release the documents themselves. There was no footnotes, there was no interpretation. Yeah, and so that's why as much as I do think that he broke the law, he should have been smarter, not been caught. Because we do need that type of history, because right now those types of documents are being diluted with the opinions, and we can't see those actual documents that we kind of reference in our day-to-day lives that we don't know really exist.
Interesting. All right, so we've got so much on this particular question. We'll go to the next question, please. And it reads us: the speed of online journalism and social media distorts news values and undermines quality journalism. Discuss. If you are discussing, you can agree, you can disagree, you can disagree to agree, you can agree to disagree. Let us have a discussion. And we'll do that for about 5 minutes. And we have 30 seconds to each person. I'll start on my left.
Can't even read that.
Should I read it out again?
Yes, please.
The speed of online journalism and social media distorts news values and undermines quality of journalism. This is a question that's online journalism and social media speed, because there are less chance for research and verification. It can distort news value. So, can you discuss this?
No, not necessarily, because you've got things in a paper that will come out almost immediately as well.
Almost immediately. Next day. Next day immediately. What's your definition of immediately?
Twitter.
After 24 hours.
Twitter will do it in 10 minutes. Not even that. Someone will be watching it and then be like when the Queen died, people were like, "Oh, she's dead," oh, crazy. And she was trending on Twitter an hour later.
We got somebody in this class who have not said anything. That person should speak before I call on. Yeah, I'm listening. We are listening.
I'm the same.
All right. So you know yourself.
Huh?
You know yourself. I didn't ask for you. Patrick, you want to say anything? What would they say, can you?
I think in some cases it can distort it, like with Twitter, stuff can go up in 2-3 minutes, and sometimes people won't have different facts on the matter. So you might be misinterpreting something that isn't true, and someone can distort the news for you.
You want to say something?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to speed, I think that, and by quality journalism, is that if on social media you find something out and you post it and you don't understand the full facts, that's down to the individual, and at the end of the day, whoever's reading it knows that it might not be true. However, on TV, radio, things like that, there are cases where, say, I don't know, say there's a disaster, like I don't know, if a train has crashed or something, there'll be somebody sitting in the studio literally 2 minutes later saying, well, a train's crashed. I don't really know much more. And then they just keep saying the same thing over and over again. And that's not quality journalism, just sitting there and going, oh yeah, the train's crashed.
There's a report that the train has crashed and this
they need to find, you know, like, say something useful, you said it, okay, we know that. And now, of course, they have to verify facts and double check, triple check what they're saying. But and sometimes with like rolling breaking news, it's not actually quality. Like they're just there for pure quantity. Like they want to show you that I'm here first. I knew it. They want to be. Sometimes they want to be first. They don't want to be
valuable. Okay. Yeah, I want to say something.
I think if the news actually comes quickly.
Hey, can we pay attention at least for another 2 minutes?
You as a consumer can have an affordance quality of it because of how quickly it's actually arrived. So I think that's less important. But I also think as well, but going back to the socially sensitive information you said earlier, I think that runs the risk of it in terms of if you release information that you have or news that you have that is believed to be socially sensitive, but don't have the time to actually research as to whether it is going to be. I think that could possibly be detrimental to society.
Probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take. Okay.
I don't have to speak. I have to go.
Okay, you have to go. Thank you very much, sir. All right.
I feel like it definitely distorts, like the speed of it definitely distorts the values and stuff like that, because the amount of times that we like hear stories change, because they don't have the full facts in the report. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like I forgot his name, but this guy faked being attacked by like Trump supporters. He was a big celebrity. He faked being attacked, and it was like big news. Like this guy, just got attacked by Trump supporters who were white nationalists. Turns out he faked it, and he made his entire story himself. Now he's on trial for action. So a lot of times that we jumped the gun and we didn't really look at the entire facts. The facts were there, but since we reported it so quickly, the full story didn't come out until months later because we just kind of overlooked it for the insurances of having it come out fast.
Nice one. It's been pretty a great session, isn't it? And we hope it gets better. And next week, I'll be looking forward to you bringing in your questions from your readings, quoting the pages where you get the question from the reading materials, so we can be sure that you're thorough and you're not just dishing ideas from your head. And how many of you have been to the 𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙬 library? Yeah. Are you familiar? Do you think you've seen it up like a tour, facility tour of the place? You want it?
We couldn't find a book.
Oh yeah, the book is there.
You can find the books,
You
right?
can find it.
You can find it.
There's a
Okay.
machine where you can
All right.
type
Yeah, we
in.
did.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably.
All right. So what happened now?
It's okay.
I'm in conversation with the representative, right? And I'd like you to have. We've not decided on the date, but it will be one of the days we have a lecture, either next week or 4 week. So you have the facility also, you can get familiar with how to use it.
Because they don't have an online version of it, because I looked.
They do have some online, you can order something that they don't have. Anything you can find there and you know exists, you can always request for it. And if it is in Templeman library, you can also as well request for it to resend that.
What in Canterbury?
Yeah, you can resend them. So anyway, I'm not in the position to provide all of this information. We'll organize a meeting, we'll go down to the library, show you around, or we'll have a relaxed time, and then we'll come back for a chit chat. Is that fine? So it's nice having you guys, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.